Thank you so much for joining our May membership luncheon. My name is Colin Hastings. I'm the Executive Director of the Pasco Chamber, and we're excited to hear an update from the Port of Pasco. And Randy Hayden's playing hurt today, but he's gonna struggle on through and give us an update of what's going on with the port. So at this time, I please invite you to join us in the recite of our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks. Feel free to have a seat. I wanted to take a moment to introduce elected officials that have joined us here today. First off, I saw that Dave Milne with the City of Pasco council member just snuck in. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Dave. From the Port of Pasco, we have Commissioners Jim Clinworth and Gene Reichman. And Vicki Gordon, sorry. Got the trio here today. From Franklin County, we have Franklin County Prosecutor Sean Sant. There's Sean. And Franklin PUD Commissioner, did I say Port of Pasco or did I say PUD Commissioner? Okay, I was good there. All right, Franklin PUD Commissioner Stu Nelson. And I forgot to say anything mean about Stu. I'll reserve that for next month, I guess. I do want to take a moment to introduce board members that have, with the Pasco Chamber, that have joined us here today as well too. Of course, you're going to hear from Kim Fall a little bit later, who's our president. Rob D. Piazza with Hometown Values. Randy Hayden with the Port. Janet Mick with Minuteman Press. Dave Zabel with the City of Pasco. And same with Mike Gonzalez as well too. James Sexton, Jason Hogue is our past president, and Delt Clark as well too is on our board. I'm trying to think who else maybe snuck in that is, and Walter Timmons, thank you. And Walter actually RSVP today and I didn't get it on my list. So let's give them a round of applause for, yes. And then also Norm Rommel with Franklin PUD as well is new to our board as a liaison too. So let's give him a welcome to the Pasco Chamber. So we have quite a few events that are coming up, and you'll see them on your table with our golf tournament, the Sagebrush Scramble that's right around the corner. And we're looking for teams and sponsors. So if you have any interest, feel free to fill that out, and I just turned Canadian there. Just fill that out, and or you can reach the Pasco Chamber either by email or give us a call. We can get you all set up. But it's right next door here at Sun Willows, June 17th. We always have a really good time at that event. Obviously, we haven't had it for the last couple of years, but it's nice getting back out. Hopefully, it'll be summer by then. It seems like this weather's a little strange, and we're slow to getting to that mark, but in addition to that too, in July we have our Crawfest that's coming up. This is a neat event that has evolved over the last 4 years, and looking for a good turnout this year. You'll see that we have yard signs as well too, so if you have a good location either in your front yard of your house or in front of your business, we encourage your support of the Pasco Chamber by promoting that event. It's going to be at Osprey Point. It's a great venue and get some legitimate boiled crawfish straight from Louisiana, if you will. Buddy Bentz and his son and his team of helpers know how to do it right, and so you can even see some of the information on those flyers as well too. We're doing it a little bit different this year, where you're going to be getting one serving, large serving, 3 pounds of crawfish plus the corn and the potatoes and the sausage. And so that's a flat rate of $35. So if you want to take that down yourself, you can share it with 3 people. It's still $35. If you want more, you're gonna have to buy some more. But this is the key now, is if you want to reserve that and buy that early, click on our emails that are coming out, or come to the Pasco Chamber website. We have a special where you can get your $35 of food and a t-shirt that we're going to be selling for $25 the day of. If you pre-order, you can get that package for $50. So really cool design that Minuteman Press has put together. It kind of looks similar to what those signs are. So I think those are going to sell out, but we're looking for a good turnout this year. And then last but not least, right around the corner, we have our Dust Devils Chamber Night. It's this next Thursday, this Thursday. Holy smokes, it's almost June. This Thursday at Geisa Stadium, we have Chamber Night Dust Devils, and Dust Devils have helped us out. We're going to be now on the first base side in that little special seating viewing area. Right on the field. It's really cool. They call it the bullpen sections too. So we have a few tickets still available. If you want, I'll pass this around a little bit later. So if you're interested in getting some tickets, you can sign up here. We can invoice you a little bit later. But it's $24 for adults, $18 for children. You show up an hour before game time, which I think is at 5:05. I know it says online. And it's all you can eat, all you can drink in an hour. Before the first pitch, but it's always really well attended. And Pasco Chamber has had this over the last few years, always had a really good turnout, and now we're kind of getting treated with some really nice seats this year. So excited for that. Other than that, I guess that means that we move into, update for some of our new members. I want to introduce a couple new members of the Pasco Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to have them come up so we can present them with the plaque, and Ellie's going to take their picture real quick. But first, I want to introduce Ann Jordan with Allstate. Ann, if you want to come on up. And then Isabel Kioris. Did I pronounce the last name right? Gringo-ish? Okay, come on up. And I'd like to present you plaques, and Kim will help you out with that. Yeah, thank you so much for joining the Pasco Chamber. We hope you display your membership plaque proudly in your place of business, and we get to see you more often at our luncheons and make some good networking and help promote your business. So with that, it's my pleasure to introduce now Kim Fall, who is our Pasco Chamber President for the 2021-2022 board cycle. She is with Conover Insurance, a division of Hub, and she's going to take us through the rest of the program. So, Kim, welcome.
Gotcha.
I'll take this one.
Gotcha. I'm afraid to touch it. Hi, everybody, and welcome. It seems like we were just here yesterday, so glad to see you all again. Now, it is with great honor that I get to introduce our guest speaker today, who I feel we are so fortunate to have on our side and representing Pasco. He is passionate about what he does and passionate about what he does for us. And I get to see the inside story of that, and I'm so thankful that Mr. Randy Hayden is the executive director at the Port of Pasco, where he has worked for the past 20 years. He was started when he was 2. He oversees the port's 2 large industrial parks, the barge terminal, the intermodal rail yard, the commercial properties, and the Tri-Cities Regional Airport, which is now rolling again. Randy serves on boards at the Pasco Chamber of Commerce, Benton Franklin Good Roads Association, the United Way, Washington Public Ports Association, the Pacific Northwest Waterways Association, and is the chair of the State Community Economic Revitalization Board. And you sleep somewhere in between all of that. Randy graduated from the University of Washington in 1988 with a degree in civil engineering and earned his professional engineer's license in 1993. Before joining the port, Randy worked as a private consultant in the Tri-Cities. Randy is a Tri-City native. Where'd you go to high school? Oh, go Bombers. He is married to Annette, who is a nurse at the hospice house, and they have 3 children, Noah, and how do you pronounce your middle son's name? Tova, and Magnus. And they spend a lot of time with kids' activities and enjoy camping, biking, and kayaking. So with that, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. It's a pleasure to be here, and every few years, Colin lets us come in and update folks a little bit on what's going on with the port. So I really appreciate that, Colin and Pasco Chamber, for allowing us to be here today. So I might as well just get started with this, since many of you, I think, are wondering. I've got the exciting story, but false, which was a friend with a house in Maui invited me to go parasailing in Maui, but I hit the water hard and broke my wrist. But the less exciting but true story is I was playing racquetball at Gold's over in Richland and tripped on my own feet and just came down hard on my hand and broke my wrist. So I've got another 4 to 6 weeks putting up with this. Clicker. So you've already met our commissioners today, but I just want to say, for those of you who are Port of Pasco residents, you really have a wealth of experience in these 3 individuals. Everything from insurance to wineries, public power, commercial real estate, business. They really bring a wealth of experience, and we're really proud to have them as our 3 commissioners leading the Port of Pasco. So thanks for all that you do, commissioners. The Port of Pasco does a lot of activities, so I just want to tell a little story today about some of the things that we have accomplished, some of the things that we're working on, and some of the things down the road that we will be working on. For those of you who aren't familiar with the port, this is a map that shows all of the properties that we manage. We do things outside of these properties, but the projects that you get to hear about every so often are at one of these properties. And so they represent a mix of industrial, commercial, just business types of uses, all in Franklin County. And we do represent all of Franklin County except for the little northeast corner, which is the Port of Calotes, which is a separate port. So the biggest area on there is the Tri-Cities Airport, and that's usually everybody's favorite topic to talk about, so I'm going to start out with that. But before I get there, a little audience participation. I would like to know if anybody can tell me how many nonstop direct flights this table doesn't get to answer, and one gentleman at that table doesn't get to answer. How many nonstop direct flights we have that fly out of Pasco? So not how many flights per day, but just how many nonstop destinations do we fly to out of Pasco? Any guesses? 6? All right. I'll take 3 guesses. Anybody? 5? Okay. 15. All right. So we bracketed the correct answer there, which is 11. So these are all the nonstops that we have, and people usually are surprised that we have that many nonstops. In fact, we added 2 during COVID, which was very, very unusual when air travel was so far down, but we added AHA Airlines to Reno, and then we added Avelo Airlines added a flight to Burbank in the LA area, and then you can see the other nonstops that we have flying out of Pasco. And the airport really is doing well. You may have seen in the news recently that Alaska, with the pilot shortage, has reduced flights out of Walla Walla, Yakima, even Spokane to Seattle. We have not lost any of our 6 daily flights to Seattle just because of the strength of the Tri-Cities and all the flying that you do. So we really are well positioned here for our flying future. Just to give you a little picture of our passengers that fly out of Pasco, you can see we've been on a steady incline. In fact, 2019 was a record year for passengers flying out of the Tri-Cities Airport. And then, of course, we all know what happened after that. COVID hit and our numbers went down dramatically. We were down, I think, at worst to about 10% of our normal passengers during the worst part of COVID. So we are now bouncing back. And as you can see, in 2021, we recovered a lot of the lost passengers. And so far this year, you can see in yellow, these are the months of 2022. Yellow represents this year, green represents last year. You can see we're up significantly over passenger numbers last year, and we expect that trend to continue going up. So far, we are about 85% of our pre-COVID levels with passengers, which is fairly typical across the airline industry. And I think as business travel comes back, as people start attending conferences and that sort of thing again, we'll reach and even surpass our record levels in 2019. One of the interesting things that people may not realize is that we are always out actively marketing the Tri-Cities Airport to airlines, telling them about our community, about how many people fly, how much they're willing to pay, and try and attract those new flights into the Tri-Cities Airport. Of course, the best number that we can tell them is how many passengers we have, so the more you fly, the better we are at telling our story to bring new flights to the Tri-Cities. Our airport director, who I don't know why he's not here today, I'll have to have a talk with him after this luncheon to see why he wasn't supporting the Pasco Chamber, but he was just in Alaska's headquarters in Seattle last week on an air development mission, and he tries to meet with the headquarters of all the major airlines once every year, once every couple of years to shop our airport. And they were telling him, unfortunately with the pilot shortage, they're not in a position to expand any flights out of the Tri-Cities right now, or really anywhere. But once they get the pilots shortage figured out, they are looking again at Portland, which is probably the most frequently asked question we get about flights out of Pasco's to Portland. And then they're also looking at perhaps swapping out the regional jets with 737s to Seattle. So we'll see how that develops for them. And then the other question we frequently get asked is, when is Southwest going to come to Pasco? And my answer had always been, you really need to be about the size of Spokane before Southwest will even consider you. But they did start flying out of Bellingham, which is an airport about our size, so you never know. There's hope, but I'm not betting any money on Southwest coming soon. We just need a lot more passengers, usually, for them to come. All right, well, sticking at the airport, but outside of the terminal area, we also have a business park, which is just down the road on Argent Road, and we have been developing that property across from CBC for a number of years, and you can see 3 of the newest businesses that opened up at our airport business park. Of course, the Marriott, which had the great timing to open up right before COVID, and then didn't have the people staying that they were hoping for their grand opening. But they have really turned it around, and they are now one of the top performing hotels in the Tri-Cities. So just a great location for them, and we're proud to have them there as a tenant. The port also finished building a hangar for Battelle. They have an atmospheric researches plane that flies all over the world collecting data for atmospheric research, and they were looking for somebody to build them a new hangar, so we did that for them, and they leased that for their Department of Energy atmospheric research program. A little funny story, they used to be in the older part of our airport in an old Navy base hangar, and their plane was so big that to get it into the old hangar, they had to tip it up to get the tail to fit and then tip it back down to make it fit in the hangar. So with the new hangar, we are proud that it is tall enough that their airplane can get in and out without having to do that. And then one of the most recent developments that you will see if you drive by Argent right now is the landing. This will be a 2-phase project. A flex building is currently going up that will have 4 tenants, and then later this year they'll start on phase 2, which will be a retail building for up to 3 tenants. And then this is just an overall plan of that area. The green lots are the lots that are available for commercial, professional, business use, and then the blue lots are we're reserving for executive hangars and folks that need a plane associated with their business. And we have about 4 businesses that already have those types of lots being used. We are currently building the part that you see in red on that slide, which is a new road that will go in between the hangar lots and the business lots, and then a new taxiway to serve the aircraft that will be using that those air lots. And there's really a large demand that we're seeing for executive hangars, not here in the Tri-Cities, but across the state. So with that new road and taxiway, we expect that business park will be filling up rather quickly from here on out. Moving off the airport, the largest project that the port has been working on is our Ryman Industrial Center. And we bought this property back in 2019 when we had sold our last lot at the Pasco Processing Center, which is where a lot of our large food processors had located. And we needed land, and so we looked at a number of locations, settled on the Ryman Industrial Center on the north side of Pasco, and we're able to buy that from Balcom & Moe. I appreciate their efforts in selling that to us, with some help from the Hanford Area Economic Investment Fund with the land price, which you can see on the screen. And Colin, where'd you go? Colin is a board member on HAFIC, so we appreciate his support on that board and for the board for their help with that. So shortly after we bought that land, Dairygold was out looking for a new location to build the largest dairy processing plant in North America. And they were looking across the Northwest to build this plant, and they settled on Ryman. It just met all their needs for the amount of land they needed. It had rail nearby, it had natural gas that they need, highway access. And so they finished buying 150 acres from us at the first part of last year, and are currently working on their plans for that new plant. They hope to begin construction later, well, they will begin construction later this year. Along with that will come over $500 million of investment in that new plant, and they'll be making butter, primarily to send to the East Coast, and then protein powder to send to Asia, where they're really looking for increased protein in their diets. And again, this will be the largest dairy processing plant of its kind in North America, so it's a huge project that will be going up out there. To get them here, the port and our partners promised to put the infrastructure in that they need. So that includes roads, water, sewer, rail line extension, about $20 million that the port will be putting in through the various funding sources that you see on the screen there. And we're currently under design with that and hope to begin construction later this year to get the infrastructure. What you don't see on the screen is everything that our partners are doing. So the city of Pasco is doing major upgrades to their wastewater plants, both their municipal plant and their processed water reuse facility to accommodate Dairygold, as well as putting in a new water reservoir to serve the domestic water that Dairygold will need. And the PUD will be putting in a new substation to serve Dairygold. So it really takes a village to get projects of this scope to come to your area, and we are very, very fortunate to live in a community where not only the chamber, but all of our public agencies work very well together to be able to attract and make projects like this happen. All right. The other great project that has gone on recently is Reeser's new plant, and that is just about done on the east side of 395. And if you're driving up to Spokane, you can pretty much see that building just about done. In fact, they're moving so far in advance, they're already talking about adding an expansion to this project here in Pasco. So that is a $100 million investment, over 300 new jobs. They will open that plant later this year. And our part in that was really just acting as a facilitator. They needed some land. The landowner, the Cox family, wanted to sell the larger tract of land, so we agreed that the port would purchase the north part, Reeser's would purchase the south part, and we'd make it all happen for Reeser's. So with that, the port has 55 acres of ground along 395, just south of Foster Wells, that we are actively marketing for our next industrial clients. And we do have some interest. We're already under contract for the middle 17 acres, as you can see there, with a large freight facility. We can probably say their name. It is Old Dominion. Thank you, Myra. And they're currently under a purchase sale agreement and hope to close that in a couple months. We're also in discussions for the northern 11 acres and have the 25 acres to the south between us and Reeser's available. And that has been under a lot of interest, so I think all of that property will be sold fairly quickly here. So another exciting development that we have been working on with JMS Development is our Osprey Point Master Plan, and James and Meredith are here. James gave an excellent presentation on his plans at an earlier chamber meeting, so I'm not going to go into detail on this project, other than to say this really is a transformative development for Pasco and our region to make this a waterfront destination with a variety of residential options, commercial, waterfront restaurants, a hotel, indoor-outdoor entertainment venue. So we're super excited for what James is planning there. He's currently working on securing the final permits for him to get going with his first phase of development. So hopefully we'll see some construction out there this summer on Osprey Point. So just moving on to some projects that we've completed in recent years, starting with our Foster Wells Business Park, and this was what somebody was mentioning earlier today. We have sold out all the lots that we had at our Foster Wells Business Park, and this was an area of about 2 to 10 acres that we had set aside to support the large food processors at the Pasco Processing Center. And it was very successful after a number of years in trying to market it. But the last 4 people to buy lots there and the businesses they represent are up on the screen here. And if you were to drive by there, I'd encourage anybody that's going out 395, just take a look to your left on Foster Wells. You'll see lots of construction and new buildings, the 4 most recent shown on the screen here. So we're just proud to be able to offer land for private businesses to succeed and thrive in Pasco, and that's really what we see as our mission. Another big project that we finished is down at our largest industrial park, the Big Pasco Industrial Center. And it's kind of fascinating to me when I talk about this, how much history there is at Big Pasco. So maybe a show of hands, do you know somebody or did you ever work at Big Pasco? Anybody in this room? Yeah, quite a bit. And it's just interesting hearing people's stories about what has gone on at that industrial park, because it has served many, many uses since the port purchased it from the Army over the years. But it is an old Army World War II facility, and the infrastructure shows it. So we were fortunate to receive a $7 million grant from the Economic Development Administration to replace a number of the roads and put in a whole new stormwater system at Big Pasco. It was a major, major headache for our tenants that are at Big Pasco, as road construction always is, but they managed to put up with this, and it is now a finished and complete and really well-done project. So my thanks to Myra and her staff at the port who managed that project for us, our consulting engineers, McKay Sposito, who managed the construction and design for us, and our tenants for putting up with that big project. As you can see from that sunset photo, a lot of the work had to occur at night to not inconvenience our tenants as much, and so it was a lot of work to get that done. So just wrapping up, I want to recognize the fact that the Port of Pasco as an economic development agency is not the only one doing great things in our community. 2 of the largest projects that we've been hearing about are Amazon and Local Bounty, who are building 2 huge projects out in East Pasco. Those were all the result of private landowners and private developers working with these private businesses to attract them to Pasco. The port had nothing to do with these other than being nearby, so we're just proud of everybody in Pasco working together to get projects of this scope located here in Pasco. So my final slide is, how do we keep this going? I think Pasco has been very proud of all the things that we've seen come here the last year, and that has been the result of all the planning and prior work that our leaders have done in our community to be able to be ready to receive these new businesses and new industries. But to keep it going, this is my list of things that I think that we're going to need to work on. And the first is workforce, and this is not unique to the Tri-Cities. We see workforce demands all across the country, and I'm sure that many of you with businesses are experiencing it yourself. It's tough to find people these days. So when we're looking for new industry and new businesses, the first thing they're going to be asking is, where's my workforce going to come from? So it's up to us, I believe, to have a community where people want to move to because of the amenities that we have a friendly business climate, and that we're welcoming to them. And it's also going to be, do we have housing for these people? When we're looking at Amazon, Darigold, all those projects, they're going to need houses for their employees. So I'm very proud that the city of Pasco has really taken the lead on this for Pasco and is looking at very unique and innovative ways to increase our housing stock. And they do have a lot of land that has been added to their urban growth area for new residential. So our real estate developers are also going to be a part of that. But affordable housing is something that we need to get a handle on for our next big project. Third is regional power. Many of us, I think, in this room think that we've got dams, we've got a nuclear power plant, we've got some wind, we've got some solar projects. We should be flush in power in our region. But the fact is we're not. Most of that power gets headed right over the hills to the Seattle area, and we don't have a lot of that capacity left for us in the Tri-Cities compared to many areas of the Northwest. So when we're out looking for the next industry, whether it be food processing or some of the higher value manufacturing, we often run up against that roadblock of we don't have the power that they're asking for in the Tri-Cities, so we just have to say, no, we can't accommodate you. And this is not just a new substation, this is getting more transmission and more power generation into our area. So I think that's something that we are going to be working on as a community to really get power increased in the Tri-Cities so that we do have other opportunities for growth. And I have to say, part of that power is preserving the Snake River dams and the reliability that they bring to our power grid system. when we're talking with folks like Dairygold who cannot shut their plant down. They are a 24/7 operation. The cows don't stop milking. You know, they've still got trucks coming with milk every day regardless of whether the power is on or not. Having that power reliable is a key need of their industry. And the Snake River dams is that power source that we have that makes sure it meets the peaks and valleys of our power load so that we always have power on. So those are hugely important to the way of life in our economy here in the Tri-Cities. Fourth is wastewater, and again, the city of Pasco has taken all the wastewater from these large industries, and they are out of capacity, but have been working very hard to find ways to add capacity to their system. So that is also a future need that we have. And finally, our urban growth area expansion, just that our city urban areas have a way to grow to support the people that we will be moving into our area. So those are the things I'm going to be focusing on for a while to make sure I have something to tell you next time we all get together. With that, I thank you again, and we have time for any questions if you happen to have any. Thank you. Felix. Sure, great. Thanks for bringing that up, Felix. That is an oversight. I'll need to add that in there. Yeah, the Colville Tribes has bought some land. They're currently in the process of getting that land transferred to trust with the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which will allow them to do gaming on their property. So they're doing two projects that we know of. One will be a truck stop type development on the intersection of Hillsborough Interchange and 395, and the other will be a casino type gaming operation. So along with other jurisdictions, the Colvilles have reached out to work with us and sign cooperation agreements on what that project will mean. So actually at our commission meeting this Thursday, we will be recommending to our commission that we approve a cooperation agreement with the Colvilles. They are not exactly forthcoming with all the details at this stage because they still have to get through that fee to trust process with the land, but we do expect that that will be a huge new employer in our area. So thank you, Felix. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. Oh, Colin.
So on the airport development, where the business park is, when that is full, is there other area around the airport that could be developed, like on the north side, or what does the future look like for expansion of the airport?
Yeah, another great question. So I guess two things. As far as the airport itself and operations, we do have plans to extend one of our runways to the northwest, and that will allow the airport itself to grow as far as the types of flights, the number of flights, the type of aircraft that we can serve in the Tri-Cities. As far as the commercial opportunities, we do have other land that's available, and Stephen, our Economic Development Director, raise your hand, Stephen, is working on an initiative to attract aircraft or aviation-related businesses to Pasco. And so some of the land that currently now is just fenced area is actually available for development, and we just really haven't marketed that as much as we want to, so we're going to be pursuing that as well. All right, well, thank you again for the time today. Really appreciate it, and good seeing you all.
Kind of ahead of schedule today, so we're going to let you guys actually be on time. That's kind of nice. So we are going to do our door prize today, which, Colin, who's our door prize represented by?
Columbia Grain and Feed.
Oh, great. Columbia Grain and Feed is sponsoring our door prize.
It's a plant, $25 gift card, and then a bottle of wine that we throw.
Did you all hear that? A plant, $25 gift card, and a bottle of wine. And our winner is Jamie Harbert with Numerica Credit Union. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And with that, I will thank the Red Lion for hosting us today. You guys always do a great job, and PSC-TV for filming today's event. And get your Craw Fest sign if you can put that up, and don't forget to buy your tickets. It's going to be a really great event with bands, and by then, the weather will be nice. And Janet, thank you, and thank Minuteman for all of your artwork and everything you've done. So we're super excited, so get your tickets, they're going to sell fast. And when they're sold, that's all the crawfish there are. So get ahead of that one. So anyway, thank you, everybody. So have a great day.